Hello again. In the 1930s, we saw the leaders of various European countries explicitly reject democracy in favour of dictatorships. Adolf Hitler and Mussolini in Germany and Italy, General Franco in Spain, Pilsudski in Poland, Dr. Salazar in Portugal, and of course Stalin in Russia. This has been called the Age of the Dictators, and it led to the Second World War. Although he was democratically elected, by the beginning of his fourth term, people were even saying that Roosevelt was beginning to look like a dictator, although a fairly benevolent one compared with Stalin, say. Now, almost a century later, we seem to be approaching a new age of dictators, or at least men who want to be dictators. President Trump is talking of overthrowing the law which forbids anybody from serving more than two terms as President of the United States, and he seems to be trying to tinker with the courts to achieve this end. As far as Putin is concerned, there's really no pretense. He is, of course, a dictator in all but name. Israel's Netanyahu is also up to some jiggery pokery with the aim of remaining in power indefinitely. In Turkey, Erdogan has just had the opposition leader arrested, and it is said that he hopes to make himself the permanent ruler of his country, a dictator in other words. Even in Britain, democracy is not looking all that healthy. The crooked lawyer and pathological liar who is now Prime Minister has managed to cancel a third of the local elections, in a major blow to the democratic aspirations of those people in the country who wish to register their disapproval of the government by voting for reform. The parallels with the 1930s are striking, and we need to decide fairly soon just how fond we really are of democracy, and whether or not we might believe that a period without it, say of one strong leader ruling by edict, might work better, at least for a while. We do need to remember that the present system of liberal democracies is a very recent development, and that even in Britain, within living memory, the principle of universal suffrage and one person, one vote didn't exist. Until 1948, for example, graduates of Oxford and Cambridge universities and the University of London, University of Wales and Queen's in Belfast all had two votes. We tend to regard modern democracy as the default setting and assume that it is a system which everybody wants, but that may not be the case. The fact that President Trump received such a popular endorsement, despite the suspicion that he would like to become the permanent leader of the United States, shows perhaps that not all people in the West are great fans of wishy-washy democracy. This is not, by the way, a declaration that we need strong leaders, perhaps a military junta like that which ruled Greece for some years in the 1960s and 1970s. It's simply an observation that the same feelings seem to be abroad as was the case in the 1930s, and many people are apparently disenchanted with traditional democracy. One certainly cannot blame the British for feeling this way, since their political system has somehow lumbered them with Keir Starmer for the next 4 years. You can well understand why some people feel that a change in the system is needed in that respect.